was I was black the whole time.
But don't feel bad. Though.
The whole time I was.
Let's say that's another topic.
I think, we don't start.
The link below, do you see it? Why are you watching me still? You haven't clicked the link yet. Click it. Click it. Click the link right now.
A few years back, they had a battle of boutiques, and we competed, and I came in second place, but it was my first event, so I was really pleased. It was nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a great time. It was awesome. We had kind of like a Beyonce theme, and then I hired a violinist to come in and kind of freestyle. He was amazing too, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And this was here in Orlando?
Here in Orlando, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, he came in and kind of freestyled, and you know, it was nice. It was nice.
That's dope. Where was it at?
It was at the Rosen Plaza Hotel. It was back in a couple years ago, 19.
Dang.
You know, COVID dates have us all messed up. We don't know how long things happen. You know,
we just totally like glossed over an entire year.
A year, yeah.
A whole year that like people move as if that year just didn't happen.
Didn't even happen, yeah.
Nothing moved, nothing. This came out of COVID.
Oh, did it?
Mm-hmm. I started this in
a lot
COVID.
of things were born in COVID.
Yeah.
I think it was necessary.
I think it was necessary too. I want to hear why you think it's necessary.
Yeah. Right now?
Yeah, right now. Oh, we've been rolling.
Oh, we have? Oh, I didn't know. Okay, so I think that COVID was a reset for people. Just kind of a time to pause because things were, with the president that we had and the direction and the trajectory that things were going in, I think that it was time for the world to stop, reset, and focus. And this caused a lot of people to kind of put a lot of things into perspective.
Yeah.
It just gave us time. And in this day, we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
But this made us stop and pay attention to a lot of things. You know, I started growing my business a little more in COVID. I paid more attention to my relationships and my home, because one thing I know, that if people didn't have a home before, like it was homey,
Yeah.
COVID created that because you had to get comfortable in your space.
Yep.
So you paid attention to your pillows and your dishes and your sheets and your towels, because these are things now that you're using a lot. You know what I'm saying? You paid attention to your TV. If you notice that a lot of different channels and things were born in COVID, and different apps for, you know, you just made your space comfortable because you were in it more.
You were in it more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think COVID made people more resilient than they knew. Well, it brought a lot out of people.
Yeah, that they didn't know they had.
That they didn't know they had.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's necessary. My brother, and I talk about him a lot. He's a business owner, been doing it for years now. So like he's fresh into. He's not fresh. He's not new at it. So when COVID hit, his company was already online. So I mean, all he had to do was just market a little bit more,
right.
You know, just to kind of make sure that he grabbed a little bit more people. But I mean, he was already set. But his thing was, you know, when the smoke settles, when the dust settles through this COVID thing, where you gonna end up? Where you gonna be?
Yeah.
And as I was conceptualizing the sit down and launching it, and like, you know, taking it, working on ways to take it to another level, because it came out of COVID. We were doing Facebook Lives. So
I saw that. Yeah.
we had to ramp up. You know, so that year, like a lot changed in that year. Like we changed so much in that year. And by the time this year came, I mean, we already knew, okay, yeah, these changes came last year. So we just ramped it up, man. And just thank God, you know, the people that we were able to connect with, the partners we were able to grab, different people that signed on, that agreed to do it when it was in this baby stage. You know, which was really dope. So by the time we got to them, we had a different presentation, and it was like, oh man, this is dope. So people were able to track the growth. But my brother, man, he would tell me in times I wanted to stop, and he's just like, you're not gonna stop.
Gotta keep,
find a way to pivot and move.
Yeah, and that's the resilience in us. It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
But I also believe that if you are an entrepreneur at heart, if it's in you, these are the times that really, really develops, your skills, and you can kind of hone in on what you're good at.
Yeah.
And this really, I think this really helped us a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, and it even created platforms like Versus.
Yeah, that Versus.
Versus would have never happened.
No.
Had it not been for COVID. And they just sold that to Triller in a multi-million-dollar merger.
Wow.
So now, so it's just, I think it just made us be a little bit more forward thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And creative.
More creative. And people that didn't think that they could do it, did it.
Yep.
People that didn't think that they could continue, like ramped it up. Like it just did a lot. But see what that does for me, it says like, what it says to me is like, it's always been there.
Yeah.
It's not like it just now came out of people or it just now happened.
Yeah.
These things have always been in us.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we just need a reason to press through the crowd, because you're gonna go through, and you always hear people say like, I did a study, because I've always known I wanted to like own my own thing. Entrepreneurship is something I've always like, sought out. Yeah, and it's always something I want to do. And so I did like a research. I just started like just following people's story, like researching different people that I looked up to or I like what they were doing. I would like go follow. I would just find their story and like follow it, trace it backwards to see where they came from.
Right.
And the constant theme in every single one of them was just like a crazy sacrifice. Like, I mean, the stuff that they said that they sacrificed, or the things that they did, and what they pressed through. Just digging it out of the mud, like literally. It was just crazy. That was it was different in each person, but that was always there. This was the sacrifice. This was the grind. Like, this is what I had to push.
And the consistency and the tenacity to just keep pushing
through all of that crap.
Even when it looks crazy.
And it was bad. A lot of them were going through like a lot of crazy stuff. Like, I mean, they were missing funerals, like important. Like, it was just moments, but it's just like when people see them now, like when we see them, we're like, oh my gosh, this person's great. They're doing all of this stuff. But when you trace their story back, it's just like
you didn't see all the trials and the tribulations and the struggles
and the stuff,
the tears and the blood and the sweat, all of that. You
don't see it.
People don't see it.
And so I was just like, man. And so all of this stuff was developing me, because I was like, okay, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to, what I want to be. Things I want to accomplish. Like, you're gonna have to push through something. And what I mentioned on the last time on the show, I mentioned it to a couple of my guests, like in front of the camera, like this right here. When people see this sit down when we're promoting the video and they see it, that's just a fraction of the work. To me, that's the easy part. I would love to just sit here and talk.
It's when these lights are off. That's when all of that.
Man,
I know. I'm not.
That's where it's that.
That's when it starts.
What?
Yeah.
By the time we get here, it's like, okay.
Right.
But the off-screen stuff is where people are made. So I guess just talk a little bit about things that made you. We'll get into Pose and like the birthing of that, but like just as you as a person, what was that story like for you? Well, or the journey?
It has been a journey, but what has really kind of has been developing me lately. My mother has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Wow. And
we started noticing her decline when she was in her late 50s. And I didn't know what was wrong with her. Then I thought, 50s was old. And I'm like, well, she's losing her memory. She's getting old. But, now I realize that it happened really early.
Wow.
And so as she, her disease progressed and she started becoming less and less independent, I had to start becoming more of a caregiver to her and kind of learning how to navigate this new normal with us. And that situation kind of led me to a lot of self-discovery. because in discovering who she was through her illness, I discovered who I am.
Wow.
And through some of her things, because it's really strange, like parents, and especially Black parents, shield us from a lot. They hold a lot of secrets. We don't tell, you know, stay out of grown folks' business, okay.
Yep.
You know, they don't disclose a lot. They keep a lot of things close to the vest. So in discovering my mother's illness, I had to take over a lot of things. And that's when I learned a lot about what she had been shielding and who she was as a woman and as a broken woman who raised me in her brokenness. And it was just like a revelation, like, oh my goodness. Now I understand her more. And I wish I had been able to have these conversations with her before, you know?
Wow.
But she had a desk. I remember when she bought it, she had really good credit. So she would buy things on credit, like, I don't even know. I didn't get that gene. Anyway, she had really good credit. And she would always go and buy a piece of furniture or something on credit and pay it off really quickly. But she had bought this really heavy roll top desk and she kept it locked. And when she started getting sick, she would lose her keys all the time. Like she'd lose keys, she'd make more keys, she'd hide them because, you know. And so she locked this desk up. And so when I had to put her in a assisted living facility, but this desk was there and it was all locked up, and I'm like, I bet this is where all of her important papers are that I need. So when I finally got that open, I found her journals, her recipes that she had written, handwritten, Bible verses, and just little writings and things about her that I just learned about who she was. So I'm like, you know, it was just kind of symbolism, because that locked desk was also her locked dreams, her locked ambitions, her visions, all of that stayed locked. And then just me opening that opened up a wealth of discovery for the both of us. So now here I am at 46, you know, learning these lessons that, you know, I wish I had learned a long time ago, but I'm thankful for the journey now, because I'm able to see, you know, some things through this experience. So here I am now, a product of an amazing but broken mother. And now it helps me to be a more open and honest and transparent parent, you know, and friend and girlfriend and all of those things, you know, all of the roles that I have and titles that I have. I can be more open, because now I understand that when you lock things up, you lock up your freedom. You lock, you know, and so I want to be liberated. You know, as much as I want to be like my mother, I also don't. So.
I would have never pegged you for 46.
Really? Oh, girl, you know, black don't crack.
Hey.
She looks 17. I don't know, what is she, 12?
Yeah, but that's really, I'm gonna tell you, as Black parents, they do that a lot. They shield up a lot. They shield up a lot. No, it's not at all. I don't want to do that.
No, it's not healthy.
And like even my kids now, like when I'm doing stuff, I try my best to include them. Until they start getting annoying and start getting into stuff. Because I mean, 1 and 3, so I mean, it's only so much including, and my 7-year-old. But I try to include them with what I'm doing. I try to explain it the best I can to them.
At their level of understanding. The
oldest is 7. He came from a previous relationship. And so he asks questions. You know, why do you and mom share me? That was a new one.
Oh, that's a deep one.
But I told him.
Yeah.
You know, and he might not understand everything, but I don't want him to not ask those questions, because the older he's going to need to know them.
Yeah.
Because you don't want him to assume, for number one, and you don't want someone else to tell him, because the world's going to tell him.
Right. You don't want to squash that curiosity in him too.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep asking questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something he said to me. He said, Dad, why are you and Mimi, because he calls my wife, he calls Oksana Mimi. He's like, why are you and Mimi married all the time? Why do y'all get married all the time? I said, we didn't get married all the time. We only got married once. You know, so he kept asking me that question.
But he's processing something.
Yeah. So I just answered him.
Yeah.
You know, and I just keep asking, keep talking to him. And I think that, you know, he's 7, so he doesn't really know what he's asking. To him, though, he knows something is there, though. So he's trying to understand it. So I answer him, and I want to be as transparent as I can. You know, the older they get, you become more transparent. But that helps them figure out who they are.
Right.
I was talking to one of my friends, owner of Plot Twist Creative. What's up, Brandon? I was talking to him, and I was telling him, I said, no matter how much we don't want to become our parents, even though we don't know, we become our parents.
We are.
All the time.
We are, yes.
And so when things aren't told to you and you figure it out, yeah, you're going to figure it out eventually. But when people start talking to you about your parents, you start learning more about them. You're like, oh, that's why I deal with that, or that's why that's it. That's why I'm like this. That's why I'm not like that.
Exactly.
And it starts making sense the older you get.
Yeah.
Not to say we probably would have chose differently coming up, but having that information, I feel like it would do something.
Yeah, and it like knowing who your parents really are at their core helps you to be more authentic in your being.
Right.
Is what I believe. I had a conversation with a coworker earlier in this week, might have been last week, I don't know what today is, but anyway, her daughter has been experimenting with marijuana, and she found out.
Yeah,
and so have I. And her daughter was experimenting with marijuana, and she, in her high school years, had also experimented with marijuana. Now, they had different reasons for that, and so I asked her, I said, did you ever talk to your daughter about, you know, your journey with marijuana and smoking weed and things like that? And she was like, oh no, I would never do that. And I was like, well, you should.
Yeah.
I said, you should. She was like, no. And I was like, no, you should. I said, because for one, she might be looking at you now, the final product, after you've gone through all of those struggles, and saying, my mother would be so disappointed in me, not recognizing that she is you.
Right. And
she's internalizing something, you know, some type of failure, without understanding that you're her superhero, and she sees you as perfection, but she doesn't understand that you weren't always that way. So by allowing you to be more human in front of her can allow her to be more accepting of who she is, and understanding that it's okay to make those mistakes. So I was talking to my daughter about it, who you know, we had that struggle when she was in high school. And I asked her, I said, would you have wanted me to, you know, be more open with you about, you know, things I had gone through? And we actually were texting. And she replied, yes, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I was like, oh, so was I that closed?
Wow.
And I realized that, you know, I think I was, you know, I did. I realized I did hold a lot of things because I didn't want her to follow in my footsteps, but inadvertently.
They still do it.
Exactly. So she bought me a book, and it was such a great little journal. The name of it is like, Mom, I Want to Hear Your Story. So
wow.
It's a book it asks questions about the mom, me, and then you write answers. And so at the end, you know, you give your kids the book so that they can read a story about you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought that was so neat.
That is a dope idea.
It really is. I wish I had thought of it. I'm like, how could I copy it? Dad, tell me what's up.
What?
Yeah. So
I think there's an opportunity in that somewhere for you, though.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lane in that.
Yeah.
That's a dope idea. Honestly, I'm thinking about some stuff.
I know it was a good one.
Yeah, that was a real good one.
Yeah.
And kids are gonna do what their parents do all the time.
Without even knowing
the stuff that I dealt with, the stuff that I deal with or have dealt with before, still deal with, am dealing with, will deal with in the future. I know it's a lot of my dad in it. I know it's a lot of my dad in it, and it's funny because I'll be talking to my kids or I'll say something to them, and I'm like, dang, that sounds like my dad. Dang, that came out, I look like my dad. Not always bad, but that story is there. It's always there.
Yeah.
And not telling your kids does not protect them from anything.
Right.
Because the world's gonna tell them. So this is the way. And I'm 35, so my kids are still young. I'm still learning a lot about parenting. But this is the way I chalked it up in my brain, right? So you can let me know because your kids are older. So let me know. The way I put it in my head was, I want to be the first person to tell them something on any topic. I just want to be the first voice they hear about particular topics,
right?
Because they're going to hear it from everywhere. I want to be the first one to present it because my experience in human nature is we always revert back to the first, no matter what.
Right.
It's just human nature. It's the way our programming is. God knew what he was doing.
Right.
It's our programming. We always go back. So even if we do end up over here, we circle around somehow through life and time, and we end
come
up
back
at that first.
Yep.
And that's true in scripture. I guess it's just true in scripture where it says, train up a child in the way they should go. And when they grow older, they will not depart from it, because I was raised in church. My dad's a pastor, all of that. I went 12,000 miles away to circle back.
To come right back. Yeah.
Still ain't there yet, but I'm working.
It's okay though. Nothing that God has for you will miss you, nor will you miss it. He's gonna make sure, no matter what, you'll get it, and it'll be yours. But like you said, the first, you always come back to the first. Now, I think that's an amazing thing that you want to be the first to tell them, because sometimes firsts aren't positive experiences, and people circle back to those, and they don't understand how they keep getting back to this place. But that was your first experience. That was the seed that was planted in you. So when you're planting good seeds and you're fertilizing and watering those seeds and they're sprouting and growing, that's what you're going to come back to healthy situations. But if you're neglecting those seeds that were planted, you're going to come back to dead plants, and that's not nice. No.
My thing, and the way I look at it, my children are so young, but I don't, they're young and I know they're young. So I remain sensitive to that. But my thing is, I can't stay looking at you like that, because I don't parent my kids for where they are. I remain sensitive to it, and I get it, I understand it, but I'm raising you. Right. So I can't always stay there with you. My job is to raise you. So when I deal with you, and my oldest is 7, I'm starting to throw on more responsibility and little stuff. Get your sibling dressed, do this, just little but I'm giving him responsibilities. And because it's just, I'm raising, not only am I raising a man, I'm raising a black man. So this world is gonna look at you a little differently. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to treat you that way too. Right. And they're going to, when you get out into this world, not in this home, when you out this house, there are things, and we keep expectations realistic for you guys. But when you get out this house, the expectations on you are going to be unrealistic. And they're going to expect something out of you based off of your age and your gender. And with black students, here's the teacher in me. With black kids, even the way they look, if they're a larger build, they're going to expect you to be more mature. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or you're right. It's the expectations. It's the expectations. And I can't, and for me, especially working, still having 9 to 5 and knowing what's out there, it's just like, I can't, and it may be mean. And sometimes dad does have to be mean or the bad guy, but my thing is, I don't care. I will be me. You could call me mean, call me, I'll be that. Because when you get out here, and kids that we come back, you're going to be 35 one day. Right. And I would rather you say that I'm mean now versus get 35 and then be like, damn, my dad. We do the same. We do the same thing. You get older and kids figure out. Yeah. And I have to explain it to my son more so than I did with my daughter, that you're not going to always understand the decisions I make on your behalf. Right. Or understand the things that I'm telling you to do, but always understand that I love you and I want the best for you. Right. And you can't always process, because you haven't had the experiences yet to make those connections. You can't process some of the stuff I'm saying. Just do what the hell I tell you to do. That's it. Do what the hell I tell you to do.
And I had to give him the example. If you're babysitting your little sister, because he's his dad, you had a few of them. If you're babysitting your little sister, and she keeps going and wants to touch the stove, now you understand that she can't touch the stove because you've touched the stove before, you've been burned before, you understand that stoves are for cooking and it's hot. You get that because you're older and you can process that. She may not understand that. But you don't have time to explain to her how the filaments in the heating element in the oven works. She wouldn't get it anyway. You just tell her no, stop, don't, and you don't expect her to say why. The same, applies to you. So just understand that anything that I'm telling you comes through the vessel of love. Receive it. And then go on, sit down and be quiet. Go on over there and sit down now.
Then go sit down because you're gonna do it. It's gonna happen. My daughter, the 3-year-old, she's saying no now. She says no. So I know the first time I heard her say no to me, I had to pray, but it was cool. I made it through it. So she says no, or she may ask why, or she'll do something like that. And I'm like, or she says she don't want to do it. I'm like, that's fine. You don't gotta want to do it, but you're still gonna do it. Like it's fine. Like you could express that all you want. This is still gonna happen. But I think that, but that's parenting, and I'm learning a lot of it. Is sometimes, and I know for me, I felt like sometimes I would feel like, man, it's only this situation or it's only this household, but it's just like, no, kids are just like that.
Kids are like that, and it's very different. So when I grew up, like I said, parents didn't have a whole lot of conversation with their children about certain things. They told you what to do, you did it, or you said you did it. But now these kids feel entitled to know everything. They feel like that, and so now I have to pivot as a parent with these new. What is this? What are we on now? What generation? Gen Z?
I don't
and
even
millennials.
Know what the last one I remember is millennials. What's
I think it's Gen Z. So my
Jeez.
son is Gen Z, and my daughter's a millennial. So now I have to pivot because I was raised as, you do what the hell I tell you to do. I don't know what generation that is called. Like, what is that? I don't know. But whatever it is. So now I'm trying to transition into, okay, let me compromise with this parenting thing. And I'm going to give you a little bit. I'll give you a little explanation. But you're not entitled to X, Y, Z. But it is a give and take. It is different.
It is.
So I realize that I can't raise my children in the same way that I was raised because so many different.
The world's different.
I mean, with social media and when I was growing up, I bought the 2 Live Crew tape, and I was in a cassette. Cassette. And I had to hide it. But now these kids can close off in their rooms with a smartphone and have access to
the world.
Anything.
Crazy.
It is. And so, I have to pray over mine and have that open dialogue so that they understand that everything you see on the internet is not reality, even though you see it. It's not reality. And I need you to keep in mind that be true to yourself. Be true to what I'm teaching you here, because this is coming from love. So I
think it's all in the world, because even from my nieces to my children, the world is different. The things that we said and told them, and how they were even raised, is different now. And I think, and as parents in the older generation, sometimes it gets hard for us to accept that, because even I know when technology was forming and the way it moved, people even looked at my generation, even me, a little different. And it's just like, well, what are you going to do? We can't go back in time, because the world that our parents were raised in was different. It was a different world.
Very different.
Than when they were raising us. And they were trying to raise us and prepare us for a world that and it's just like,
it no longer exists.
It no longer existed.
Yes.
So I don't know what this world's going to look like for my children. The only thing that I want to do for my kids is I want them to be confident in themselves and be sure in who they are, know who they are, and not be swayed. That's my goal for my kids. You're going to go through stuff, you're going to do things you ain't got no business, you're going to hurt yourselves. Like, I'm fine with all of that. I expect it. I don't know everything that's ahead of me. Only God knows. So I pray I'm just ready. But at the end of the day, I need you to know who you are. I need you to know that in this house, like, people here love you. You are loved. And I tell my son that he doesn't live with me, but I tell him all the time, like, everyone, I mention everybody, we love you. Mimi loves you. Boom. And I make sure that he knows he's loved. And I show affection.
Right.
I show affection to my kids. But I'm dad too.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to get the discipline stern hand, but I'm also gonna be affectionate to you. So I try to keep that balance, but I don't know what the world's gonna look like. It's just to prep them to be decent people and contribute to society. That's my biggest thing. Don't be lazy.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because it reminds me, when I was in college, I've always wanted, well, at first I wanted to be a rapper. But
really? What's your rap name?
Don't even worry about it. But then when I realized that wasn't going to happen, I said I'm going to be a teacher. So I had a class, and I can't believe, I think I got like a C or a B in a class. It was called a media class. And we had to learn how to load the film projector with the 2 reels, and you had to feed it, and and then we had to work the overhead projector with the transparencies. I don't know if you know about what that is. And we had to do all of that old stuff. We had to do microfilm and all that kind of stuff, and now that stuff didn't even it's vintage. Yeah, it's vintage, and I'm like, dang, y'all made me pay how much per credit hour for this? And then I was yesterday I had given the ACT to a group of students, and we had finished, and it was about 35 kids in the room, and test was over, computers closed, because they give the ACT online now, and everybody was able to get their phones, and 35 kids got their phones after this test was over, and all of their heads were down like this. And I said, oh my God.
Wow.
Nobody's got their heads up. I said, you guys are sitting in here and everybody is into their phones. Yeah. They were like, well, we haven't had our phone in 3 hours. What are we supposed to do? I'm like, talk to each other. Yeah. I said, you sitting in the library, look at all these beautiful books. I like, converse. Yeah. And they were like, no, thank you.
Wow, I'm good.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I was listening to, I like Childish Gambino. I'm a huge fan of Childish Gambino. Huge fan. And he said something in the line before. He said, when it comes to these, I'm totally paraphrasing, but he said when it comes to these white kids, they're allowed to wear any hat they want to wear. Yeah, yeah. Like you see it, you see it in movies. You got the goth kids, white kids. You got the jocks. You got the cheerleaders. You got the geeks, the nerds. You got all these different types of hats for white kids. But when it comes to black kids, you have to be one way and one way only. Yep, yep. You're not black enough if you didn't watch this movie, if you don't listen to this artist. Yep. If you want to be smart or educated, and it's just like those narratives play out, and like, people see them and they're like, oh, don't feed those stereotypes, that's not true. I went to an all black school. Those things are there. Yeah. Yeah. Bullying, the smart, like those things are there. Like it's there. It's like real. So you can't. Yeah, it's real. So you don't want to feed it. You don't want to give it any life. So that's not why you shine light to it. But you shine light to it to say, well, that's not right. Like to be black, it's just not. It's just not one way to be black. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's not one way. Because at the end of the day, they all want us there. It don't matter what you say. Right, right. So you might get pulled over. I'm still a black like. They ain't gonna say you act white. They don't recognize me as white. They don't recognize that. Yeah. I'm just another black guy. So, but I say that to say, like, when I found out, and there's a line in this Troy the movie that sticks out with me to this day. I still use it and the dude said he was talking to Achilles, I think that's how you say his name, whatever. But he's like, we play with the tools the gods gave us, because the guy told him, hey, you're a great talker. Brad Pitt was like, oh, you're great at speaking and everything like that. He said, well, I use my words, you use your sword. We play with the tools that God gave us. Yeah. And it's just like when you start learning who you are, things that I thought I was being cocky and arrogant about, it's just the confidence that I have in this area. Yeah. That was in your toolbox. Right. Yeah. And a lot of it too, it's just like it masks a lot of different things, and I still got to watch pride issues. But when you're moving in an area, people may call it cocky, but it's just like, no, I know how to do this. When LeBron James is on that basketball court, he knows basketball. Jordan's on that court, you can say cocky, whatever you want to say.
Right.
This person knows basketball, so they're going to play that great.
Right.
You put them in another area, they might not move so great.
Exactly.
They may be good,
Exactly.
but great might not be there. So I guess I want to talk about pose a little bit.
Okay.
Is this an acronym?
Yep. Perfect outfit, stylishly executed.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I just saw the dots and figures. So what? Perfect?
Perfect outfit, stylishly executed.
Stylishly executed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I was just thinking one day. So I started this when my daughter finished college. She went to school for mass communications, and when she graduated, she didn't have a job. And so I was like, well, let me see what I can start where she can work for herself.
Right.
Because I see entrepreneur all over her.
Wow.
Like, I don't see 9 to 5 in her, still don't. And so I started this, but once again, here I am as a parent wanting to push something on you because I want you to do this. And she did it for a little while, but it really wasn't her thing because she's into this.
Wow.
She would be like, she's an amazing content creator.
Wow.
That's what she does. She's just a free spirit. She's really creative. And so, so I had it, and I had all the, inventory and, all the documents and legalities done. And so I was like, I guess I'll just take over it. It doesn't need to go to waste. So I just kind of picked it back up a couple years ago and kind of trying to develop it into something that can be a viable source of income in case I go to work one day and just...
Yeah. No more.
Yeah. yeah, because I just... And COVID has, like we talked about earlier, has created more of a fire in me to have my own.
Yep.
So that's where I am with that. And right now I'm kind of transitioning into being multifaceted. So we're starting to sell luxury pre-owned items like Louis Vuittons, Gucci, nice. Chanel bags, so that people could kind of have luxury but at an affordable price.
Nice.
So that's what we're going into. And I say me, I'm the team. I do it all.
There you go.
So so that's what I'm trying to get into.
That's cool. I seen you posted something about your daughter's writing.
She's an amazing writer. She's an amazing writer. Here I go again with the visions for my children. I see her, I know. I see her like on a production team, writing or directing or something like that. Currently she does, she likes to critique music and things like, she's heavy into music, so she loves music. But she can write. She's really, really creative.
Wow. So
I really want her to, and I think she's gonna get there, but I really want her to tap into that more without fear. I want her to just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Jump in. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake.
Make them.
Yeah.
Mistakes are, I've learned that mistakes are what make us.
Yeah.
The reason why you see a lot of rich people not making too many mistakes because they made them.
They made them already. Yeah.
And then they know where not to go.
Yeah.
You got selected to do what?
So when I started my writing journey, that was inspired by what I was going through with my mother.
Yeah.
I saw that there was a Black-owned, a woman-owned publishing company that was hosting an international writers retreat in Paris, and it was going to be the first international writers retreat for Black women, curated by a Black woman. And so I applied and I got it. So Audrey Ori is the owner and CEO of 13th and Joan Publishing, and she's an amazing ghostwriter for a few celebrities, and she just knows how to get you to tell your story. Wow. So she's the queen of storytelling, is her handle. And she has been working with me to kind of fluff up my writing and get things like that. But when COVID hit, we had to push back the dreams of the writer's retreat, because it was supposed to be last year. So it's on pause for now. But she's been hosting little domestic excursions. Yeah. And so the next one is in April in Atlanta. And we're going to do a 1-day writing excursion at a winery. Wow. And just kind of get together with some other Black women authors and kind of work on our writing to hone in on our craft. And
that's cool.
So I'm excited about that. That is like, I never thought I would be working on writing a book, but I'm finding a lot of enjoyment in it, and I'm finding a lot of more self-discovery. Yeah. So it's just been a healthy journey for me.
That's cool. Yeah. I want to do a book. I don't want to write though. I want to tell the writer what to say.
Why don't you just, well, a lot of times, let me tell you what I do. So I have on my calendar every day I write, but sometimes I don't feel like it. So I'll just speak it into my notes on my phone.
And then type it out?
And it'll type it out. And doing that also has made me realize that I'm very, very country because my phone does not hear what I say in the way that I say it. I'm like, that's not what I said.
It'd be hearing something totally different.
Yeah, but anyway, and I'll copy and paste it into an email and then send it to my Google Drive. And I didn't have to type or write at all.
I think that will probably be the way I do it.
Yeah.
I call it lazy. I don't like all that writing stuff.
It is what it is.
That ain't my strength.
It is what it is. You gotta listen, but you can speak.
I sure can.
And you have a smartphone.
Hey, thank you.
Make it do what it do.
So I did ask you. I asked you about Pose, your boutique. Now, were you doing any show? You've done shows with that before, or you have done a show before?
I have done one show, and that was an interesting experience because I was so scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man! But I did it to come out of my box. Yeah. And so what I found, and I don't know if you could identify with this, like when you know that you have a talent in something, but you've kind of squashed your talents down. Yep. You kind of shrink yourself, and you shrink yourself so as to make other people not feel uncomfortable with your glow. Yep. So I got tired of shrinking myself for the benefit of others, you know, and I did this show so that I could kind of open up, like bloom like a flower, and start showing my talents. And when I did that, I lost friends. Wow. Yeah, I lost friends because it made me realize that some people are happy when your flower hasn't bloomed. Yep. Because there's only one flower, and that's theirs. But then when you start to grow, you will lose people. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But so that particular event for me was my coming out to myself that I'm going to stop shrinking myself for the benefit of others. And now every time I find myself going back into that, you know, shell of place of comfort, I say, okay, stop. Yeah. Stop, because it's self-sabotage. Yep. You know. So when I did that show, it was just an amazing experience, and it showed me that I can come out of my box and be successful. Wow. And I did, and it was great.
That's cool. You say that, identify with that, that's literally what I went through.
Yeah, yeah.
I would shrink myself so much. One of the things that got me out of that is I realized living like that kept me broke. I got tired of being broke. Yeah. I said, bump that. Yeah, it's time. I'm about to see this.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me that. I need that paper.
Exactly, exactly.
So that was another thing about, I was going to mention about being popular on social media, like likes and all that stuff, like that don't mean dollars.
It does not translate into dollars at all. You gotta,
like, I've come across some people's profile, and I'm like, man, you have a lot of followers, you got a lot of support, and I'm like, what do you do? Because I would love to have you on a sit down, so I want to know what you do. And then I look down their feed, I'm just like, you don't have anything posted. Not to say don't take pictures and look dope. That's cool, but man, put something out there.
What else are you doing?
Yeah, like do something with that platform. I feel like that's an amazing. Social media is an amazing platform.
Yeah.
It's an amazing platform, but it's just like do something.
You got to
with
learn how to use it to your benefit, and it's a science to it. Like I'm learning, it's a science to it, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I watched on Netflix The Social Dilemma.
I heard about that.
Oh, you got to watch it. But I did an experiment after watching it. I said, you know, because the way the algorithm works, it actually times you how long you, like when you're scrolling and you slow down on something, that's like, oh, she likes that, so I'm gonna give her more of that. Or if you go fast past something, they take that away. So I started, I like makeup, I like fashion, but and that's all cute and everything. But I want now to dive deeper into self-awareness and things like that. Yeah. So on the motivational things, I would slow down, and then on the makeup and the frivolous stuff, I would go fast. Yeah. And my news feed, my timeline started changing.
Wow.
Yeah. So on Instagram, more of that motivational stuff was appearing and less foolishness.
And that's called retargeting. And like they'll take from stuff that you search on Google, stuff that you watch on YouTube, Facebook, all these social medias, even phone conversations, stuff that you buy on Amazon, and they'll just retarget that on other platforms that you visit or frequent. Yeah. And this is the thing I try to express to a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of my friends I talk to, that in life, nothing just happens. It's not accident. That's why we were talking about social media earlier. We're like, yeah, let your kids see this stuff, but let them know this isn't life. Right. This is called marketing.
Exactly. And you're the customer.
Business. This is a consumeristic society.
I mean, you're the product is what I meant to say.
Yeah. So you got to realize that what keeps you on this site longer translates to dollars. They can market on this platform. When you're on YouTube or all these other platforms, that's marketing. That's dollars.
And they're going to do as much as they can to keep you engaged. Which is why you have your phone, and an hour or 2 hours later, you still sitting looking at your phone. You don't realize that you've been sucked into the best marketing strategy on earth.
On earth.
Yep. And I want to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I need to learn, because I need to push some of these dresses and stuff. Yeah, I need to learn how to do it.
There's a couple people I reached out to because I want to up, the branding. I want to up what we do. I want to, do a little harder push. I understand a little bit of the algorithms. My thing is just time. I don't have the time to do that. I spend a lot of time on Facebook. I spend a lot of time on social media platforms, promoting different things, creating content. But I got to spend other time other places, and I want someone else to handle that for me. I still want to understand it because I find it interesting. I find marketing very fascinating.
I do too.
Because for the longest, I grew up and I was just consuming things. Even when you're not spending money, you're still consuming. And you consuming is making someone else money. So I'm like, dang, I need to get in on the other side of that, because like there's money to be made there. And when I started venturing into that, and just the way marketing is done, it's just like, it's interesting. Even this, like right now, I'm marketing for someone.
Right. And that strategic placement, they know it's a psychology tool.
All of it. So nothing is on accident.
Nothing. I told my son that, and he's like, no, if I wanted to buy something, I have freedom of thought. I'm like, Jalen, baby.
You've been marketed to already.
So one day he got a package, and it was I was like, what is this? He was like, it's a jaw exerciser. What you buying a jaw exerciser? He's like, look at this. Look at that. And he had like a little extra skin under there. And he's super skinny. But he was like, your skin isn't supposed to do that. I'm like, Jalen, what did you search on Google?
That told you that.
What did you search on Google that showed you a product and it kept showing it to you? He was like, no, that's not what happened. I'm like, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Yeah, you got God, player. Yeah. And I don't even know where the little thing is that, now that he bought, but later he came back and he was like, you know what, I think you're right. He's like, because now everything that I look at, like, yeah,
it's called marketing.
It's marketing.
When you go into grocery stores, the way things are placed on the shelves,
the music they play,
everything
we're
has
being marketed
a purpose. To 24/7. And when you learn that, and it's not that it's bad. I don't think their marketing is, to me, they're doing a great job at it.
Yeah.
I don't find it wrong that they're marketing to us all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even mind it.
Yeah.
Because that shit, someone is getting paid to do it. That's a job.
Yeah.
The thing that we have to do as consumers is realize that we are being marketed to. Own it. There's no way around it, and then try to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Man, get out of here.
And recognize when it's not serving you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got to pass some stuff up.
Yeah, and that's the problem because it's just so easy. Last night I couldn't sleep. I think I spent like $200 just doing this because I couldn't sleep. So,
Scrolling.
Yeah,
Scrolling.
and they know that.
They know it.
They know that.
They know the hot times.
Yep.
That's why, like, I noticed that there's certain times of the day that I start seeing more stuff. A lot of my posts get more tractions at certain times of the day because people are online more. So I try to post at those times. Like, it's all a strategy.
Yeah, it is. And
Nothing
just
is
gotta
on
learn.
accident.
Yeah, so.
I appreciate you sitting down here talking
Well,
to me.
thank you. This has been really fun.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, I was nervous at first, but I think I'm okay now.
We were rolling. You didn't even know it.
I know. I didn't know.
just
I didn't
talk.
know.
Yeah.
So, it's awesome.
Let the people know how to get in touch with you. Let them know where to find Pose and all of that good stuff.
Okay, so you can find me at pose, p.o.s.e, no dot at the end. Oh, we started this Instagram in 2015 before online e-commerce was really, really popular.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
That's the thing.
but when we first started, it was not that popular.
Wow.
So had I known then that this would be like,
The next thing.
yeah, I would have probably did a little different, but we got it now. It's Pose.
It's Pose.
Yeah. I try to cater to the modern woman. That if you want to be classy yet still trendy, those are the types of pieces that we carry. Things that you can go from day to night, and most of our garments are $50 or less. Nothing that I sell is of poor quality. So everything that I sell, I make sure that it's something I would wear, and I'm not embarrassed to put it out there. So so quality. Yep.
That's
quality.
cool.
And I'm not, and I don't want to be rich off my business. I just want to make women feel good. I want women to be happy and confident in what they wear.
Yeah.
And so that's, kind of where I'm going.
Cool.
That's my vision.
That's Pose.
Yeah. So,
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. Thank you guys so much for watching the sit down. Because if you wasn't watching, then I don't know what I'd be doing this for. So thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube, but y'all subscribe. You don't watch my stuff and not subscribe. Y'all not them type of people. So thank you so much for subscribing. Want to say what's up to our partners, taxmoney123.com, Pinka Expressive Studio, and then most beautiful partner of them all, Oksana, the legacy coach. You can find all of that in the description of this video. Reach out to the guests, follow the guests. Guys, do that. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching. See you next time. Deuces. That's the sit down.